Persian Gulf, 2:17 p.m. Bright afternoon. Cloudless sky. 3 American oil tankers, each carrying 2 million barrels of crude oil, worth $400 million combined, heading through international waters towards Strait of Hormuz. Standard commercial shipping, legal transit, protected by international maritime law. Then 6 Iranian F-4 Phantom fighter jets appeared, afterburners glowing, diving from 12,000 feet, intercepting the convoy at supersonic speed. Iranian lead pilot radioed, "American vessels, you are transporting stolen oil from our territory. Turn toward Iranian port immediately, or we will force you down." Tanker captains, "Negative. We are in international waters. This is legal commerce. You have no authority here." Iranian jets descended to 500 feet, flying directly over tankers, sonic booms, aggressive maneuvers, forcing tankers to slow down. Tehran's plan? Intimidate tankers into Iranian waters, seize the ships, capture crews, take $400 million in oil, humiliate America. Iran believed 3 civilian tankers had no defense, no protection, easy targets. But Iran made 4 catastrophic mistakes. First, those tankers weren't unescorted. USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group was 40 miles away. Second, 12 F/A-18 Super Hornets were already airborne on combat air patrol. Third, the moment Iranian jets went hostile, U.S. Central Command authorized engagement. Fourth, firing at or forcing down American vessels, even civilian, means destruction of every Iranian airbase within range. 29 minutes, 6 Iranian fighters shot down, 12 more destroyed on ground, 6 air bases struck, Iran's air force in southern region eliminated. This is that story. Persian Gulf oil shipping. Every day, 15 million barrels of crude oil transit these waters, powering global economy, fueling nations worth billions. Most tankers are civilian vessels, commercial ships, no weapons, no defenses, protected only by international maritime law and U.S. Navy presence. At 10 a.m., 3 American-flagged oil tankers departed Fujairah in UAE, destination South Korea. Route through Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, across Indian Ocean. Pacific Energy, 2 million barrels Saudi crude. Atlantic Voyager, 2 million barrels UAE crude. Gulf Explorer, 2 million barrels Kuwaiti crude. Combined value, $400 million in oil, 300 crew members total. Standard commercial voyage, done thousands of times. But U.S. Fifth Fleet had intelligence. Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders were planning harassment of American commercial shipping. Orders to intimidate tankers, force them into Iranian waters, create international incident. At 11:30 a.m., USS Carl Vinson Strike Group, positioned in central Persian Gulf, received alert. 3 U.S.-flagged tankers departing UAE, Iranian activity elevated, provide overwatch. Admiral Rebecca Thompson, Strike Group commander, immediately ordered, launch combat air patrol, 8 Super Hornets, maintain position within 50 miles of those tankers. If Iranian aircraft harass them, you are authorized defensive engagement. At 2:45 p.m., 8 F/A-18E Super Hornets launched from Vinson's deck, armed with AIM-120 AMRAAM air-to-air missiles, AIM-9X sidewinders, 20mm cannon, full air combat load. Flight call sign, Cutlass Flight. Mission, protect American shipping from Iranian interference. At 1:30 p.m., 3 tankers were transiting international waters, 60 miles from Iranian coast, legal shipping lane, normal operations. Then Iranian radar activated, multiple search radars from coastal air bases scanning the Gulf, tracking tankers.
At 2:55 p.m., 6 Iranian F-4 Phantom jets scrambled from Bushehr Air Base, Cold War-era fighters, old but still dangerous, armed with missiles and cannons. Flight plan filed for training exercise, but their trajectory was direct intercept course toward American tankers. At 2:10 p.m., Cutlass flight detected Iranian fighters on radar. Cutlass lead, multiple bogies bearing 030, range 40 miles, heading toward protected shipping. Request weapons posture. USS Vinson Combat Center, Cutlass flight, weapons tight. Observe Iranian aircraft. Do not engage unless they demonstrate hostile intent, but defend those tankers. At 2:15 p.m., 6 Iranian F-4s descended from altitude, accelerating toward tanker convoy, speed Mach 1.2. At 2:17 p.m., Iranian jets arrived overhead tankers, flying low, 500 feet altitude, breaking sound barrier directly above civilian ships. Boom, boom, boom. Sonic booms shaking tanker superstructures, crew terrified, ships rocking from shockwaves. Iranian lead pilot radioed tanker captains on international emergency frequency. American oil thieves, you are transporting stolen Iranian resources. Your ships must turn toward Bandar Abbas port immediately for inspection. This is final warning. Pacific Energy captain, negative. We are in international waters carrying legally purchased oil. You have no jurisdiction. We will continue our course. Iranian pilot, then we will force you. Turn now or your ships will be damaged. 2 Iranian F-4s dropped to 200 feet, flying directly at Pacific Energy's bridge. Aggressive pass, forcing ship to alter course. At 2:18 p.m., Gulf Explorer's captain activated emergency beacon. Mayday, Mayday, American tanker Gulf Explorer being harassed by Iranian military aircraft. They are attempting to force us into Iranian territorial waters. Request immediate assistance.
At 2:19 p.m., Cutlass lead, 8 FA-18s positioned 40 miles away, received authorization from Admiral Thompson. Cutlass flight, Iranian aircraft are demonstrating hostile intent toward American vessels. You are weapons free. Defend those tankers. Engage Iranian fighters if they do not disengage immediately. Cutlass flight, copy, weapons free. Cutlass flight, targeting Iranian aircraft. Master arm on. Fox 3 in 30 seconds. 8 FA-18s lit afterburners, accelerating to Mach 1.4, closing distance rapidly. At 2:20 p.m., Cutlass lead radioed Iranian fighters on guard frequency. Iranian aircraft harassing American vessels. This is United States Navy. You are ordered to disengage immediately and return to base. You have 10 seconds to comply or you will be engaged. 10, 9, 8. Iranian lead pilot. American fighters, these ships are in Iranian economic zone. We are authorized to 3, 2, 1. Cutlass flight, engage. At 2:20:15, 8 FA-18s fired 16 AIM-120 AMRAAMs, advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, active radar homing, fire and forget, Mach 4 speed. Iranian F-4s detected missile launch immediately, radar warning receivers screaming, beep, beep, beep. Iranian pilots attempted defensive maneuvers, chaff dispensing, diving, turning hard. Too late. At 2:20:35, first AMRAAM struck Iranian F-4 number 1, direct hit, fighter disintegrated, pilot killed instantly. Second AMRAAM hit Iranian F-4 number 2, explosion, aircraft broke apart, no ejection. Third and fourth AMRAAMs destroyed F-4s 3 and 4 simultaneously, fireballs falling into Persian Gulf. Iranian F-4 number 5 attempted escape, diving to low altitude, full afterburner toward Iranian coast. 2 AMRAAMs tracked him. First missile struck engine, second hit fuselage, fighter exploded, debris raining into water.
Iranian F-4 No. 6, final aircraft. Pilot ejected before missiles arrived. Parachute deployed. Aircraft destroyed by AMRAAM. Pilot splashed down in Gulf. At 2:21 p.m., 60 seconds after engagement began, all 6 Iranian F-4 Phantom fighters destroyed. 6 pilots dead, 1 pilot ejected. 3 American tankers safe, continuing course, 0 damage. 8 FA-18s established combat air patrol overhead tankers, protecting them until they exited Persian Gulf. But at 2:19 p.m., before missiles even launched, U.S. Central Command had already authorized follow-on strikes. Iranian fighters had attempted forcing American civilian vessels into Iranian waters. That was active war against commercial shipping. Response would eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Gulf shipping ever again.
2:21 p.m. 6 Iranian fighters destroyed, but American response was already inbound. At 2:20 p.m., simultaneous with Cutlass flight engaging Iranian F-4s, USS Carl Vinson launched additional strike package. 16 more FA-18 Super Hornets, 4 EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft. Mission: destroy Iranian air bases that launched the harassing fighters. Each FA-18 armed with 4 AGM-154 JSOW glide bombs, 2 AGM-88 HARM anti-radar missiles, 2 AIM-120 AMRAAMs for self-defense. At 2:22 p.m., 4 EA-18G Growlers activated electronic attack systems, jamming Iranian air defense radars, spoofing SAM missile systems, making Iranian air defenses blind and confused. At 2:24 p.m., 16 FA-18s fired 32 AGM-88 HARM missiles at Iranian radar installations. Target: every air defense radar within 100 kilometers of Persian Gulf coast. Early warning radars, fire control systems, SAM missile guidance radars. 32 HARM missiles designed to home on radar emissions streaked toward Iranian coast at Mach 2.5. At 2:26 p.m., Iranian air defense network along Gulf coast was destroyed. 12 radar installations hit simultaneously. Dishes shattered, control buildings collapsed, operators casualties. Iran's air defense network blind, cannot detect incoming strikes, cannot guide missiles, helpless. At 2:28 p.m., 16 FA-18s reached Iranian coast, released 64 AGM-154 JSOW glide bombs, GPS-guided, autonomous flight, range 120 kilometers. Target list: Bushehr Air Base, where 6 F-4s launched, Bandar Abbas Air Base, Shiraz Air Base, Bandar Lenge Air Base, Cha Bihar Air Base, Kish Island Air Base. 6 major Iranian Air Force bases in southern region, all used for harassing Gulf shipping. At 2:31 p.m., Bushehr Air Base, primary target, struck with 16 JSOW bombs. Main runway, 4 direct hits, massive craters, runway unusable. Fighter hangars, 6 bombs, 3 hangars collapsed, 8 F-4 Phantoms inside destroyed on the ground. Control tower obliterated, 2 bombs, building collapsed. Fuel storage, enormous explosion, 6 bombs, fireball visible 50 kilometers away. Maintenance facilities destroyed, aircraft undergoing repairs obliterated. At 2:32 p.m., Bandar Abbas Air Base hit with 12 JSOW bombs. Secondary runway cratered, aircraft parking areas struck, 4 F-5 fighters destroyed on the ground. Ammunition depot, massive explosion, chain reaction, entire base shook. Operations building collapsed, 2 bombs, command staff casualties.
At 2:33 p.m., remaining 4 bases struck simultaneously with 8 bombs each. Shiraz Air Base, runway damaged, 2 fighters destroyed, hangar collapsed. Bandar Lenge, fuel depot exploded, maintenance facility destroyed, 3 aircraft eliminated. Chabahar, control systems destroyed, parking apron cratered, 2 helicopters destroyed. Kish Island, communications tower collapsed, radar installation destroyed, fuel storage burned. But U.S. Navy wasn't finished. At 2:25 p.m., while FA-18s were striking bases, 2 U.S. Air Force B-1B Lancer bombers received updated targeting. Bone 01 and 02, you are cleared hot. Target, Iranian Air Force support infrastructure. Eliminate their ability to conduct operations against Gulf shipping. Each B-1B carried 24 JASSM-ER stealth cruise missiles, total 48 missiles. At 2:27 p.m., 48 JASSM missiles launched, low observable, terrain following flight, heading toward Iranian military infrastructure. Targets, aircraft maintenance depots, spare parts warehouses, fuel refineries supplying air bases, ammunition production facilities, radar manufacturing plants, pilot training centers.
At 2:35 p.m., 48 JASSM missiles struck deep into Iranian territory. Aircraft maintenance depot near Isfahan, 8 missiles, entire facility destroyed, spare parts inventory eliminated, repair capability gone. Fuel refinery supplying southern air bases, 12 missiles, massive explosions, aviation fuel production stopped. A munition plant producing air-to-air missiles, 10 missiles, production halls collapsed, manufacturing equipment destroyed. Radar production facility, 6 missiles, assembly lines obliterated, cannot replace destroyed radars. Pilot training center at Shiraz, 8 missiles, training aircraft destroyed, simulators demolished, classroom buildings flattened. Iranian Air Force logistics hub, 4 missiles, supply chain broken, cannot resupply bases. At 2:48 p.m., 4 U.S. Navy destroyers, USS Sterett, USS Dewey, USS Spruance, USS Wayne Meyer, fired combined salvo of 60 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Target, Iranian Revolutionary Guard aviation facilities. IRGC operates separate Air Force from regular Iranian Air Force. 60 Tomahawks struck. IRGC Bandar Abbas Aviation Base, 20 missiles, drone hangars destroyed, UAV control stations obliterated. IRGC Keshem Island Facility, 15 missiles, attack helicopters destroyed, maintenance buildings flattened. IRGC Abu Musa Base, 12 missiles, maritime patrol aircraft destroyed, radar systems eliminated. IRGC support facilities, 13 missiles, ammunition, fuel, communications, all destroyed. At 2:42 p.m., 6 British Royal Air Force Typhoon fighters operating from Cyprus joined strike with 12 Storm Shadow cruise missiles, targeting Iranian Air Defense Command Centers. 3 Iranian Air Defense Coordination Centers destroyed, Southern Air Defense Network Command Structure eliminated. At 2:46 p.m., 29 minutes after Iranian jets attempted forcing tankers down, Operation Desert Guardian complete. Total ordnance delivered. 16 AIM-120 AMRAAMs, air-to-air, destroyed 6 F-4s. 32 AGM-88 HARMs, anti-radar. 64 AGM-154 JSOVs, precision bombs. 48 JASSM-ER cruise missiles. 60 Tomahawk cruise missiles. 12 Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Damage assessment. 6 Iranian F-4s shot down in air combat. 12 Iranian aircraft destroyed on ground, F-4s, F-5s, helicopters, drones. 6 Iranian air bases struck and damaged. 12 radar installations destroyed. 8 fuel and ammunition storage facilities obliterated. 6 support and logistics centers eliminated. 3 air defense command centers destroyed. Total Iranian aircraft losses, 18, 6 in air,
12 on ground. Estimated Iranian Air Force casualties, 432 personnel, mix of pilots, ground crews, air defense operators, support staff. Allied losses, 0. Not one American or British aircraft damaged, not one missile intercepted. Complete success. 3 American tankers continued transit, exited Persian Gulf safely. Delivered oil to South Korea on schedule, crews unharmed, ships undamaged. Iranian Air Force in the southern region, functionally eliminated. Cannot conduct operations for months, possibly years.
Within hours, Iranian state media scrambled to control narrative. Press TV. Iranian Air Force conducted defensive patrol to protect national airspace from American military provocations. Enemy forces conducted terrorist attacks on peaceful Iranian air bases. Minor damage sustained. Islamic Republic Air Force remains fully operational and ready to defend sovereignty. No mention of 6 fighters shot down. No admission of 12 aircraft destroyed on ground. No acknowledgement of bases heavily damaged. Complete denial. But satellite imagery told irrefutable truth. Commercial satellites available to anyone photographed destruction. Bushehr Air Base, cratered runway, collapsed hangars, burning fuel storage, 8 destroyed F-4s visible. Bandar Abbas, damaged facilities, destroyed aircraft, ammunition depot crater. 4 other bases, similar devastation, visible bomb damage, destroyed infrastructure. The Pentagon released carefully selected footage, not classified combat video, just reconnaissance imagery, before and after photos. Statement from Defense Secretary. 6 Iranian military aircraft attempted to force down 3 American commercial oil tankers through aggressive harassment and threats. U.S. Navy fighter aircraft defending those vessels engaged and destroyed all 6 Iranian fighters in self-defense. Subsequently, U.S. and allied forces conducted precision strikes on Iranian air bases and support facilities used to threaten freedom of navigation in Persian Gulf. 18 Iranian military aircraft destroyed total. 6 air bases struck. Iranian Air Force capability to threaten commercial shipping significantly degraded. Global shipping industry reaction was immediate relief. International Chamber of Shipping. Iranian military harassment of commercial vessels has threatened global oil supply for years. Today's decisive action by U.S. and allied forces demonstrates that attacks on civilian shipping will not be tolerated. Freedom of navigation has been defended. Lloyd's of London updated insurance rates. Risk assessment for Persian Gulf shipping decreased. Iranian threat capability reduced. Oil markets briefly spiked on news of combat, then stabilized as tankers continued normal operations. Message: Persian Gulf remains open. Iranian Air Force cannot close it. Japan, South Korea, and India, nations dependent on Gulf oil, quietly supported allied actions. Increased naval cooperation with U.S. Fifth Fleet. UAE and Saudi Arabia publicly backed the strikes, expanded intelligence sharing on Iranian military activities. But most significant impact was strategic. Iran had used fighter aircraft to harass commercial shipping for years. Close passes, threatening maneuvers, radio intimidation, creating fear among civilian crews. Operation Desert Guardian ended that tactic permanently. Iran sent 6 fighters to force down tankers, all 6 destroyed in 60 seconds, then lost 12 more aircraft on ground, plus 6 air bases damaged. Cost-benefit analysis for harassment changed completely. Send fighters to intimidate tankers, lose entire squadron plus airbase infrastructure. Iranian Air Force commanders learned F/18 Super Hornets patrolling the Gulf aren't for show. They're armed, authorized, and will engage. 6 Iranian pilots found out at Mach 4 when AMRAAMs arrived.
didn't survive to share the lesson. 3 tanker captains who were threatened completed voyage safely. Pacific Energy, Atlantic Voyager, Gulf Explorer all delivered cargo on time. Professional shipping operations. F/18 pilots who shot down Iranian fighters returned to carrier, debriefed. Routine combat mission. No aircraft damaged. Perfect execution. Iranian Air Force in southern region, grounded for months, cannot conduct operations. Insufficient aircraft, damaged bases, destroyed support infrastructure. Strategic balance in the Persian Gulf shifted fundamentally. Iranian Air Force had been tool for intimidating commercial shipping, creating crisis, leveraging oil supply fears. Now demonstrated as ineffective. Send fighters against American vessels, lose fighters immediately, plus lose air bases, plus lose ground aircraft, plus lose support facilities, all in 29 minutes.
2:17 p.m. Persian Gulf. 6 Iranian F-4 Phantom fighters intercept 3 American oil tankers, threatening to force them into Iranian waters, harassing civilian ships, attempting intimidation. 2:20 p.m. 3 minutes later, all 6 Iranian fighters shot down by U.S. Navy FA-18s. 60-second engagement, 6 AMRAAMs, 6 kills, complete air dominance. 2:46 p.m., 29 minutes after initial intercept, 6 Iranian air bases struck, 12 additional aircraft destroyed on ground, 18 aircraft total eliminated, 432 Iranian casualties. Allied combat losses, 0. 3 tankers safe. $400 million in oil delivered. Freedom of navigation maintained. Iran attempted military harassment of American commercial shipping. Instead, lost 18 aircraft and 6 air bases in 29 minutes. This is Operation Desert Guardian. Air superiority, decisive engagement, overwhelming response. Never threaten American vessels. Never harass civilian shipping. Never send fighters against FA-18s. Because 29 minutes later, your squadron is destroyed, your airbase is damaged, your capability is gone, and the tankers sail through anyway. Persian Gulf remains open. American shipping remains protected. Iranian threats remain empty. Never harass American tankers.